Hello, and welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you, that's always fun beginning like this. For those of you wondering what this is, it's Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if this is not something you want to watch, well, you might be in luck, especially if you're watching this from YouTube or Twitch, because there are suggestions to either side, depending on where you're watching this from. So you have alternative. If you're watching this from something else, well, that's just too bad. It's what you're gonna watch tonight. Just breathe deeply. Don't worry. Usually it doesn't hurt. Physically, I mean. For everyone else who actually wants to be here, who actually wants to watch Dungeons & Dragons, who actually wants to watch us playing Dungeons & Dragons, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new and you're back from previous session, welcome back. And that is it. We hope you're going to have a pleasant evening. So, as you can see, tonight we have 3 players and 2 pictures. Well, we might have a 4th player. Audience is having a little bit of technical difficulties because he is not in his usual surrounding. We hope he's going to be able to join us. If not, well, we're going to have so much more time with Fisher, Tobiashi, and Remy. It's always good. Especially when one of the 3 can't talk all that much.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like there were a solid pair of episodes where it was just...
Remy and I know how to stall.
He was talking to me. No, I'm just playing. He was talking about me. No, I'm just playing.
All right.
Remy and I can fill a solid 4 hours with just sad backstory stuff.
I don't know why.
And maybe we'll never run out of of knives for wrist cutting.
I don't know why. I've just had a very strong flashback of Jaws, when the 2 are comparing their scars. Well, we'll have Fisher and Remy comparing their psychological scars. Well, I was abandoned.
Make the audience noise.
I never had any parents.
Ooh, there's Toby in the background.
Good one.
It's like I was forced to work day in and day out with little food and water.
I never drank anything. I never ate anything. I never sleep. Damn it. Alright, so, let's see. Let's start with what happened during the last episode. Oh yeah, and always, by the way, if you enjoy the ambient background noise, hey, we might have audience.
Sheesh!
Hello.
You're muted.
All right, how's it looking? How's it sounding?
Well, you're there. That's good. There's an odd reflection in the middle of the screen, but if that's all of the problem that we have, I'm good with this.
Sweet.
All right. Well, you're right on time because we were starting to get a little bit awkward in our jokes. So, yes, as I was saying,
there went the dedicated Raimi Fisher Tobiashi character development session.
Yeah, that's all that happened.
we were arguing that Tobiashi managed to convince you with a natural 20 that the best way to train was to jump off the ship tied to a rope and train on the underbelly of the ship. And
Exactly.
Then Tobiashi would just evaporate his rope and Jorg would have to go down and get you. And here you go. We have an explanation why you're not there anymore.
What? I'm busy.
All right, so as I was saying, if you like the ambient music, ambient mixer. If you enjoy the battle maps, which I'm not sure we're gonna have tonight, it's Dungeon Alchemist and the world map Wonder Draft, which again I'm not sure we're gonna have tonight. And now, what happened last episode? Well, not a lot happened during last episode, but still, it's worth mentioning. The party finally boarded the ship, the airship, which will lead them to their next adventure. They started with a tour of the ship to familiarize themselves with the general layout of this slightly strange vessel. Then met up with the rest of the crew to reassure themselves there were no obvious spies, with audience using a good divine sense when almost everyone was there to make sure that there were no obvious evil. Well, there was this one shady character, but not exactly evil. Then, in the most uncharacteristic fashion, instead of looking for trouble, they all found something to do for 2 weeks and started doing it. That was new for me. I'm not used to this. This was weird. It threw me off balance. And I forgot to mention a few things while we were in the last episode because of that.
Listen, the dream said we had to change our ways. A bad thing would happen. We had to change our ways.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're always like a perfect boys and something. The something being we still don't really know how Terry identifies.
Or Fisher, for that matter.
Who knows how complex the concept of gender is in that language?
There's 12 stars. What happens if you change this one? You don't want to know. Okay. After all, I think we've established that Terry has 6 stomach. Who knows how many reproductive organ he actually has.
They fit together like Tetris pieces.
There's a cube, there's a T shape, there's a line, there's a single dot. Alright, so what I missed during last episode, because I was honestly, that wasn't a joke, I was honestly slightly disoriented with this change in behavior from the group. So, when the week starts, and there's where you are right now, you're above the rain, so no rain and storm. When the week started, after the first day, you sort of realized that you weren't the only one from the garden who came. One extra member of the garden actually decided to come with you. Calm, the gnome, which audience eventually named the gunman, who is actually just an arcane arbalist, a type of warrior who, for people during the Middle Ages, use an arcane crossbow. For you, living in this century, an arcane gun. And when you asked him why he was there, he simply said that rumor has it that the origin of his type of warrior came from roughly where you're supposed to go. but no one knows exactly where it came from, only that it's roughly the same area. So he was very interested in learning more and maybe finding this origin, where all of this is coming from. Most likely, Fisher would have had a moment of his attention being drawn to Calm, because it is something that, for some reason, Fisher, you always knew existed, but you could never place words on it. You could never imagine it. But Calm has a retractable shield. When it is on his arm, it is a single sheet of metal, but with a single odd wrist turn, the sheet of metal simply expands around his the backside of his hand and forms a rounded shield. Another odd wrist turn, and the shield unlatches, and he can simply rearm it. He does spend a little bit of time every day maintaining it. There is an element of mechanic in there, a little bit of clockwork. But other than that, he just is part of the crew while you're doing this voyage. But he does feel a little enthusiastic, although he is a gnome, so take this with, I was going to say a grain of salt, but it's a gnome, so a pound of salt.
That was going.
He spends most of his free time by the bow.
Yeah. And then one day he disappeared. But then he came back. The days that comes after are also a bit slow. For you, audience, it's a bit going back to something familiar, as you have spent nearly a year at sea, just going from ship to ship to get to where you were when all of this started. So there is a element of familiarity to this. Waking up in the morning with everyone, going to eat, spending part of the day challenging sailors, going off duty to dragon chess match, taking advantage of the fact that they are sailors. They will gamble. And also, you do realize that Civ is spending quite a lot of time training every day. Every morning, he is always on the observation deck, going through a series of maneuvers, which are probably, as most kata are, specific to his own specialization. You do recognize that these kind of exercise would train someone to have excellent reaction and be a real danger in the middle of a group, being the focus of attacks. He capitalizes to an extreme point on counter-attacking people attacking him, on this reaction which most people can instinctively take, but he seems to be able to take it very voluntarily. In many occasions, this is the goal of his maneuver. Taking advantage of that, making you feel like you are dominating him, and then finding yourself with a blade in your gut. You also see more about his own personal style of combat. And this is probably one element which you, Fisher, if you ever go to the upper deck, realize about him. The way he is trained is nearly a mechanical precision. He is trained to attack in a way which takes advantage of vulnerabilities. He has this mentality in combat which is cripple, shock, kill. And you feel like he is voluntarily trying to push away from this, as if it had been trained so much in his mind, in the way that he is shaped, that it's probably as close as a construct can get to muscle memory. Arcane reflex engraved inside of him. You can't help but to feel like whomever is training those people, they're training construct like him to fight extremely dirty.
Yeah.
And as always, you can't shake the feeling of wanting to not cross him in any way. It always comes back. You're not sure why. Every time you hear his blades coming out, there is a part of you that just jump inside. As if you were expecting this to be an attack on you, but immediately after you realize that it's not. You are sort of realizing you have PTSD of him, or those like him.
Hmm.
Although you have no memories of ever crossing blades or anything with any of them. Other than that, you also have a sense of familiarity to this, but it's not like audience. There's a sort of calm that comes over you when you are near the engine of this place. As if you've heard that for so long, it became part of you. You nearly feel safe when you hear it. Nearly.
Mm-hmm. These ships are supposed to be new.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is quite literally the latest design in long-term exploration for ships.
Aye.
For Remy and Tobiyashi, well, Tobiyashi, you're probably the one who feels the most alienated by this environment. You haven't been on boat many times in your life, even less flying ships. You had this failed attempt that you were sure was gonna succeed of transforming yourself into a kite, and then going back inside with a bruised forehead and ego, and Remy not helping you by showing this at audience's request during next meal.
Many a popcorn was enjoyed.
You even have a few of the crew on board the ship from time to time going right for you and saying, "Hey, how about you help me? We're gonna go outside. We need to clean the boat." Then you hear a few people just going.
Wow. Alright, I know what I must do now.
Kill everybody on the ship.
I'm killing no silently. Hide the bodies in my body bag.
You can only hide one.
This turns into a murder mystery.
Well, you see, that's the trick, though, Draken. All you have to do is find a body big enough to fit all of the other bodies inside.
Yeah. Technically, if you take an ogre can place a human in his backpack, and then a giant can place an ogre in his backpack, which has a human in his backpack. So technically, it can work.
So this world is on the back of a turtle. And what's that turtle on? The back of another turtle.
This turtle's all the way down. Everybody knows that.
Down or up?
It depends
Yes.
on perspective.
And also, this is very dirty for a turtle, Turtle reproduce by going on another turtle's back.
Oh, I see. Wait a second.
They clamp on the shell with their front flippers or claw.
You see, it's a metaphor for the universe constantly fucking you over.
Ah,
And just in order to trouble you even more, you know that if you pull on a turtle's tail, you're actually pulling on its... That's where it's hidden. So,
I'll keep that in mind
yeah.
next time I see a turtle.
Or a turtle. So...
Okay. Next time we're at the garden.
You just can't help staring at Corinth and his tail. It's not covered. Does it mean he's just walking around with his in front of everyone? Remy, you're probably the one who has the oddest combination of everything while you're doing all of this, because you get to watch Sailor work all day long. You get to watch audience work all day long. You get to see people making fun of Tobiyashi all day long. So many good shows.
It's like everything's coming up Raimi this trip.
For once, no matter where you go, you have something interesting to watch. And Jorg, well, apparently we've just learned he is slightly scared of extreme height, and so he's always hiding in his cabin. With a roll of cloth from another plane around him and feeling reassured by this. I guess we're going to have to tell him next episode that he's scared of heights now. And this is mostly how the first half of your voyage goes. Captain Null does make sure that you also see everything you can see out there. And Remy, you do have a feeling that he has met some of your kins before, because he does hint a few times that you might enjoy going outside for the next few hours. And he never disappoints. There's always something very interesting to watch, whether it is entering a large cloud and you seeing this cloud arriving slowly, sort of having this moment of, oh, we're going in a cloud. We're actually going from outside of a cloud inside of a cloud, and then finding yourself in the cloud and saying, well, it's disappointing, but also not disappointing, you know? It feels like just fog. But it's the fog from inside of a cloud.
And now Raimi understands from 2 points of view what it means to have your head in the clouds.
He also makes sure that you are outside one day when the ship suddenly cross a group of skyfish. Beautiful little fish. A bit small in size, but they all have this silvery color reflection on them, which only makes them feel like they're glittering as they're just swimming in the air, going from clouds to clouds. You're not sure how they're doing this. There's probably a little bit of jealousy also. You know, their wings are much less impressive than yours, but they get to fly.
Life isn't fair.
But you can find comfort in the fact that they're just fish, and they'll always just be fish, and you can be more than just a fish. You can eat them if you want. As a matter of fact, there's one coming really close by, and revenge. You eat fish that night.
Fisher just coming in randomly with a fishing rod. Hold on, I got this. I was literally made for this.
It's probably the same thing as fishing a normal fish, no? He also makes sure that you are there to witness at least one sunset and one sunrise in the middle of the sky, where the ground is an endless field of clouds. And you get to see the sun rising from that point of view, not from the ground, and just seeing the clouds above you becoming completely red and orange, but from the other side of the cloud, seeing the clouds under you becoming red and orange, and the sky, the endless sky, welcoming the sun. That's a very new perspective for you.
Maybe you can't wait for this to show up in a dream again.
Yeah, and especially with Remy, it's literally going to be exactly that. So, all in all, the first part of this voyage is filled with new things. Maybe more questions. Maybe things which simply makes you go, whoa, I didn't know that that existed. Or the simple fact of life. Probably looking more at audience for this. Simple joys of life. Physical work. Winning money from a sailor. Getting a few more drinks of ale because you apparently made good friend with the cook of the ship. This is mostly how your first week goes. If there's anything you'd like to add, things you'd like to do, take a moment to talk to someone, to ask questions, this would be the perfect moment before I go to the next half of your travel.
I'm good.
Okay.
I would have probably talked with the captain a little bit, but just because he's also a dragonborn.
Oh yeah, only a dragonborn can properly explore the world. You're the only one who has the proper equipment. And he gives you a nudge when he says that.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
So
Yeah.
So what? So I know that you're one of the head captains of. What was the group again? The group. notes.
Did I write it down here?
I think I did. I just have to find it. Sister Northern Corsair Expedition, Legal Ed. What's it called?
Yeah, it's the Corsairs.
Northern Corsair, yeah. So you're one of the head captains of the Northern Corsair Expedition. How long have you been part of this expedition?
Why? Nearly since when I was born.
Oh, so you were born into the expedition?
Oh, more or less. I was born in ships. But my father's talent earned him a distinguished position. And that position drew some attention, which led to becoming part of this marvelous group, making sure everyone is safe and resources do not find themselves in the pocket of those who don't deserve it.
Of course.
Well, of course, once my father became part of this, I inherited his ship. When he passed on, died in combat, as it should be.
As it should be.
And, well, everything simply seems to stumble into place after. I kept on captaining the ship. Then became more prominent.
So were you a captain before? What's her name? Kadan's sister, but she told me her name. What was it again?
Well, you decided to call her Zal because the rest of the word
Yeah,
you
Zal,
were having
'cause it was
trouble
long.
pronouncing it.
Yeah. But he wouldn't know her by Zal, so I would go Zalka Garth. Yeah. So were you a captain before Zalka Garth took over the or was she already in command by the time you had joined it?
She's kind of special. I think you already know her brother.
Yes, I know her brother.
Well, he found a sword inside of a glacier. And he became enthralled with this sword. She found the ship and made a name for herself. So much so that people just started to follow her. Some out of fear, some out of respect. Then eventually, important people decided that having someone like her, making sure that the skies stay safe for the right people, was important. And so, everything fell into place. You could say she is a self-made female.
Yep. All right.
She made her name with bold tactics, daring plans, and depending on who you ask, resourceful and ingenious strategies, are completely stupid and reckless ones.
Some would say completely stupid and reckless strategies are the best. I'm not sure my party would say that, but they'll,
They're boring.
we try our best.
Of course, immediately undercut by a flashback to two bomb explosions. Flashback to the present.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is the strategy I laid out to get us to the wall in the dream worked out very well. We all got to the wall.
With one more survivor than you should have. Yes.
Exactly. All right, cool. Thank you for the information. It's good to talk with another Dragonborn, and I just talk about small stuff. I just had a couple questions, so
Okay.
talk to him more is interesting. I didn't know that Kudon found a sword. I'll have to ask him about that. All right.
All right. So, anyone else has something to discuss with someone?
No, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Well, not discuss, but just like a couple things to like make sure that are explicitly said that are being done.
Okay.
Just like because you know what, Ramy's on a ship full of sailors that are going to be eating rations for a bit. Probably going to promote his truffle services for meals. Because just easy to take advantage of that scarcity of sweets for the next several weeks. But
All right.
on top of that, since Tobiyashi requested it, and it's mostly just going to be like a per day kind of thing, like one per day, but he'll probably spend at least 1 hour of each day making an additional flask of holy water.
Nice.
Since it takes, if I remember correctly, an hour per usage, as it were,
I think
of the stone, rather.
I don't have the description in front of me, but I think it's.
I'm pretty sure it is an hour, but I'll double check. I just know that I just need to make sure that was said. And Raimi would definitely have on the first day finally looked at that jar of something.
Okay. The jar that audience
Just-
gave you because a gnome gave it to him. Okay. Make a investigation roll.
So, well, at least it's a roll that I'm good at. That would make it a 22.
As best you can tell, it is a very soothing, cream fresh.
Raimi's not going to think too hard about the implications of that till it happens, but but yeah, it was a okay. So he knows what that is now. Making the holy water, selling truffles at meal times.
Well, there are 20 people inside the ship, not counting all of you. They're part of a well-organized group. Yeah, I think you can very reliably count on. I believe you said that it was you take a 50% cut. What the price you ask?
It's like, yeah, essentially 2 copper for a copper quality, 2 silver for a silver quality, 2 gold for a gold quality. He just makes it simple.
Yeah. All right. Which means you'd get. For the first week, you'd get about 220 gold, and
Jesus Christ, these guys are hungry.
oh, they take one a day. There's 20 of them for 7 days. They all take one. It's 2 gold each. You know, it adds up pretty quickly.
I guess I've just kind of like had my expectations lower because I've been doing it with commoners for such a long time.
Like
These guys actually have money.
Yeah, no, with everything that audience just learned, they're a wealthy organization, so they can afford it. And on top of that, you get 100 silver. You know, some of them, some days, are just in the mood for just a little sweetening thing. Then the day after, they take a gold one.
Has to slap the hand out of the person that tries to give him a platinum. It's just like, no. It's bad for you.
But if you get them hooked on the drugs, they'll come back for more.
Hooked on a feeling.
Remy, I need you to hook the entire nation on platinum chocolate. Infinite money.
What alignment's audience again?
What? Don't worry about it.
He's not the one giving the chocolate, it's Remy. Remy's alignment is good.
I'd just like to state for the record that despite the particular archetype that he is, Remy does have ethics.
Yeah, but there's always a moment where you can revert back to a previous moment in your life when you were building those ethics. You know, that moment where you realize, oh, I'm never going to do that again. Oh, that was so bad. I feel so bad for killing that person.
Actually, thinking about it, I'm just wondering if there was a drug bust in the past, but like I mean, like more specifically, like a situation where it's like somebody got too hooked and like started like stalking him down the streets. It's like, nope, never doing this again.
You know, Kenku needs to learn by doing stuff. If there are people he doesn't want to kill, well, it's probably because he killed one at one point. If he doesn't want to steal things, well, it's probably because he did at one point. All right. What about you, Fisher?
I would mostly, I think, be focusing on learning Terry's language.
Okay.
I think he just means like on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
just, like took any extra moments.
You know, when Terry falls asleep and you don't need to.
Hold on, I gotta roll.
You and Civ
Wisdom
have a rousing
check.
discussion about
Oh, never mind.
morality
That's
and
my bad.
I'm gonna go lose a bunch of money gambling.
You're going to be betting against audience.
And at some point, I would probably as we're getting farther into the trip, I would talk to Civ.
Okay.
Just how are you feeling about going back?
That really isn't the most important part of this. You need to go back. You need someone who knows this place. And so I will go back.
That bad, huh?
Exiting this place is a lot harder than entering it. I will warn everyone when we get there. But when you enter, you will hear the judge. And he will judge you. The things you've done. He will give you a sentence. And you will not be meant to leave this island until the judge decides that you can leave again.
Does that mean we're not actually going to be able to sneak in? Or if we get caught, that'll happen?
The judge is independent of all the people living in there. The judge is the mist covering the island. It is consciousness, always present, always knowing, impossible to influence. It has no loyalties. It does not report to anyone. It is unavoidable.
Okay. So, any chance it judges us and decides we don't need to be here and just doesn't bother us? Or is this the kind of thing where it's going to go in and find something?
It will look at you, evaluate you, and only you know what it will say. Are you guilty of something? Have you killed someone in anger that you regret? Have you realized that your actions were greater than what they should have been at any point in your life? For any reason. Do you have blood on your hands which you hope, which you wish you didn't have because you realized that it was the wrong person to kill? Have you always measured all of your actions? When you killed someone, did you think about those that person would leave behind? Did you think about what made that person come in front of you? The judge will know. And he will judge you. Mercilessly.
And how does the judge enforce their sentence?
You are going to a penal colony. The sentence is living out your life there until you die. At any point, you can try to appeal. If you have atoned, truly atoned, he will let you out. Only if you truly have.
Is this one of those you have to forgive yourself things?
It is one part of it. You have to understand what you have done. You have to not want to do it again. You have to feel the weight of your sins.
Mm-hmm. And any chance anybody's getting out without passing that?
It is a prison. Of course, in history there has always been some who are part of the legend of those who have escaped. But only those outside know if those legends are true. Most people do not try to leave. They are scared of the judgment. When you are born on an island like this, when you have lived on this island chain, facing the judge for the first time is a traumatic event. Realizing that everything you have been told, everything you have been taught by your parents, by your mentors, might all be how to be a better sinner and not a better person. Most people are simply scared of trying this test, and so they do not take it. Over the thousands of years of this island chain existing, many have atoned for their sins. Many have been born and did not commit any sins. But the judge is merciless. And he knows, because he sees everything that happens in there. And he knows why you did it.
It would have been, no offense, but it would have been nice to get that spiel before we left.
There's no telling of how your friend at the garden can actually manage to get you out. I'm sure you have met at least once of the Naftan. in the island chain, they do say that they originated from there. And yet they're in the world. They have found a way out.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends can intersect with different realities. They can see the shards between space. They seem so much more advanced than anything our world can produce. Even the old world. Maybe their confidence is justified.
Well, saying we do get this beacon placed and get out. Would you want to go back in at some point to try and follow the dream?
If the mission is successful, then the dream will have reached its conclusion, and the entity of light will have been freed. So long as the wizard has a hold over these islands, it is not a place that I wish to go back to.
Fair enough.
Maybe this entity can help us break this hold.
Well, thanks for helping out. Yeah. I'll walk away.
With more questions than you
Throwing a
have.
weird shoulder pat before walking away.
You probably have time to talk about this with your friends if you if you want, or you can keep all of this to yourself.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I'd bring it up to everybody as a group.
You better after the whole talk you had with audience.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to
Like, I'll
decide
let
if I
this
wanted
be a
it to do like a
surprise.
individual, like talk to people individually, or talk to everybody
Okay.
as a group. But yeah, I think I'd bring it up to everybody as a group. So that's probably when everybody's eating.
Yeah, probably
'Cause I
that
don't have.
same day, later during the after sunset. Jorg is seeking comfort in his blanket, and the rest of the group is eating at the table.
So I talked to Civ earlier about, what kind of stuff we should expect to run into. And kind of the big...
You hear from inside of you, we're fucked.
First big thing is going to be the mist that surrounds the Misty Isles is sentient and the judge of the isle, which, in case you guys didn't remember, that it's like a penal colony. So the mist is the judge that presides over it, not
So wait,
like the
judge is
evil wizard entity that runs everything.
Mhm.
It's like a separate entity. But while we are going to try and sneak past the wizard and everybody else there, we won't be able to sneak past the mist. So when we get there, it's gonna dig through your past and judge everything you've ever done.
Get enough of that from Remy. So my question is,
And then,
oh no, you can keep going. I'll ask the question after you're done.
yeah, and then sentence you accordingly, which is generally a either you're good or you're spending the rest of your life there. To the best of its ability. Hopefully, the garden will be able to pull us out when if we succeed at what we're trying to do. So, as we're just trying to break in, it shouldn't really be a problem, except for the fact that it will dredge any of that up when we first get there.
So are you saying we're turning ourselves in other than Jorg?
So who wants to put money down on who has the most time?
Well, if anybody has the most time, I'm pretty sure it's you, audience. But
I don't think it's like I don't think you get sentenced for a specific amount of time. You kind of get
It's just
sentenced
indefinite?
to stay.
oh,
And then whenever you want, you can try and
to appeal.
leave.
Mhm.
And if
Oh,
you're better, then you can leave.
Mm.
And if not, then you stay until you can leave.
so what if though you're too? Did you ask what happens if we're too innocent? Are we like just made to leave immediately?
It doesn't make you leave.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think. I think it's like just like a wall. Not like a literal wall, but like we're fine going into it, but if we try and go out and it sentenced us to stay,
Okay.
then you
There's no
stay.
getting out.
And you can try and leave and like repeal, and then if you pass, then but yeah, so
That
just
brings
be aware, anything bad you've ever done that you're mildly guilty about, or even if you're not guilty about but you should be, it's gonna
Everybody
dredge that up.
just turns to Tobiyashi.
And
I killed one person. Like, we don't kill people every day.
You also got a person stabbed.
I killed 2 people. And, like, we don't kill more than that on a daily basis.
I mean,
And I
you
stole
did
some
a
salt.
pretty good job of
I brought one of them back.
yeah, like
Gosh.
rectifying his mistake there, which
The
I
other
think
ones are
should
gone. I
be
have-
good. Like that's kind of, I think that's what it's looking for. Of that kind of, if you did mess up at some point, that you messed up,
Mhm.
and both have forgiven yourself for it and have attempted to rectify it
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
or
That
something
brings
like
my
that.
next two questions up. What if we lose all of our crew? Because we don't know any of these people and what they've done. And where is the ship going to be stored while we're on the island?
I don't think they're going in the mist with us, and we're not leaving by the ship.
Yeah.
How are we gonna get it? Isn't the mist like over? Like, okay, the mist is on the island, or is it away from the island around the water? Or
Pretty sure it's in the water.
I think we're
around the
taking like a
island.
rowboat or something.
But yeah.
a
Nah,
row?
dude, we're fly suiting in.
I mean, they have these like escape
Good
pod
idea.
things on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Probably
but
take
like,
one of
okay,
those.
so
That might
Is
be
the sh-
something that'd be a good idea to clarify. But I'm pretty sure that the ship's not going through the mist.
and
seeing
they're
as-
just gonna stay on the edge of the mist.
This is a super expensive ship. And
Yeah. But do they know about this mist?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
they know what,
I think
right? I
they're
think
yeah. I think they're just here to bring us to the edge.
And we're taking the ship back, right?
No,
no.
we're hoping that we can teleport out.
Oh, that's
We are sneaking in to essentially place a beacon
Mhm.
that can.
Well, we're sneaking in to free the deity, but how we get out
Yeah,
is if we place the beacon.
yeah.
So if we feel like we can't free the deity, then we'll place the beacon and come back.
Mhm.
Fisher,
Okay.
Taranad tells you something privately.
Okay. Well, I'm done eating, so I'll see you guys later, and I'm going to sneak off, and vandalize the shit. No, I'm just playing. I guess I'll just go back to my room. Wait for the next day. I do have something I want to do on the last day that we are on the boat.
Who's Bubble Fool?
Sorry. I'm sorry, there's a letter missing. Bumble.
Ah,
Toby.
uh-huh.
What up? What'd I do?
No, Fisher is talking to him about you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Don't worry about it. We're just talking about you in front of you.
Okay.
I don't know. It's actually Toby. Does your object have something to do with jumping?
Which one?
I don't know. You're the one. I don't know any of them.
Jumping into where? Did I get something for jumping?
No.
You're the one the garden gave you.
I have
Or
tactile
the
insight.
captain. What'd the captain give you?
The captain gave me something? Did he?
I guess this conversation happens a few days later.
I don't have anything from the captain. I would have it in my items. And nothing was added.
Okay, then.
Basic with cloak and mirrors. Box of fortune. Ball of chasing. Kinsman pen and needle disguise. Oh.
Oh,
I
I don't remember talking to the captain or having him give me something. He never gave me anything.
Did he give it to just Toby, or did he give it to? I think he gave it to everybody. right?
Oh,
No,
you're talking about my ball. The ball, if
Yeah.
I jump off of the ship, right?
You hit it.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
it's not an item. It's not an item. I didn't use it yet. Like I didn't. It's not. Is it in D&D Beyond?
No.
He said if I jump or fall off the ship, press crush this, do something with this, and it will help me out or something. Right before I'm about to hit the ground.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that probably answers the question of how we're getting through the mist then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like a lifeboat or something. We'll see.
Although, I don't. It seems like this going through the mist is going to be a bit of an ordeal.
Yeah.
Seeing as the judge is going to dredge up whatever you've done wrong in your past and judge you for it.
Mhm.
So the idea of going through that while falling
Yeah.
doesn't
kind of like
seem
Fallout,
great.
like, you know what I mean? Okay.
But we'll figure it out when we get there, I guess.
Gonna
But,
get Judge Dredd.
yeah, just maybe in the next couple days before we get there,
Right out?
do some self-reflection.
Oh, self-reflection. Okay. Well, that's what we're doing the hour of self-reflection for, anyways, every day.
That's right.
We've been doing that.
Tobiashi's meditating every day.
Yeah.
And we said we were all going to do it.
That's going to be an interesting meditation tomorrow.
I've just been kind of not thinking about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not what you're supposed to do?
Well,
Yeah,
self-reflection
meditate.
is supposed to, like, look into yourself, see what you have to change, what you should be working on. Because, like, the person for the prophecy said, or whatever, someone said something about us needing to change or bad things are going to happen. It was the flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just reflecting on what we've been doing, what we should do, what we need to be doing, who we should be, what we are. I know that's a lot to take in for most of us. I don't make direct eye contact with Fisher. But yeah, just stuff like that. We'll do a meditation, an hour a day. See what we could do. See what happens.
All right. So, anything else?
Oh, one last thing. I want to take because we're eating right now, right? We just finished eating.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would-
guessing that some of you might have lost their appetite right now, but yes, you are eating.
As we finish eating, I'm going to pull out my box. I'm gonna take out the box of fortune dessert, and I'm gonna take a look at that.
Okay.
I haven't been overusing it. I've been trying not to overuse it.
No, that's all right. That's all right. So you finish eating while you see everyone going to get a chocolate truffle from Remy. You, on your own, decide to open that box, take a fortune cookie, and break it.
I eat the whole cookie before I read it.
Okay. I was gonna ask with the message. I was gonna ask with the message still inside. You're gonna wait until it comes out the
Oh
other
no,
end.
no. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till it comes out and then eat the cookie and then read it.
Quite the fortune you have there.
I keep it inside of me.
Very close. All right. So what could this say? All right. In a very vague premonition about the future, you are headed for dark days. Be careful about what should heal you.
Mhm. Is there a little drawing on it this time or no?
If the what?
Is there a little drawing on it this time or no?
A drawing?
Yeah, because there was a snake on it last time.
No, this time there's not. There's just this semi-cryptic fortune.
Okay. All right. I'll keep it with me. I kind of already knew that from what Fisher said. I'll finish eating and then I'll go sleep on the dock.
Okay.
The deck.
Deck.
We just brought a piece of the dock with us.
Yeah.
Tobiyashi just immediately jumps off the ship and hopes he lands on a dock.
And here we go again.
All right. So time goes forward a little bit, and you all have this reflective morning, trying to figure out what sins could the judge possibly find in you. Well, I'm going to leave it up to each one of you. I have a sneaking suspicion that audience is probably the one who is going to feel like Judge got nothing on you.
Oh, the other thing. What do you want me to roll to figure out how much money I lost gambling?
Well, card game, I'd say there's a little bit of deception in this to make sure that the other person in front doesn't get to... Do you want to use your coin?
Yeah.
That coin is the most used object in this game.
Absolutely.
Brought to you by the coin.
I would like to say for the record that the Bloodhound dagger has been used several times since Raimi has acquired it. In fact, it has never left his attuned items list.
So instead of a 0, that's gonna be an 11.
You know, the very first hand, you sort of have this moment of, how are they getting to know what I have in my hands? And then you realize that they placed you in front of the light and they're just reading the reflections of the card on your face. So you change face. And then
I was going to say, shouldn't he have advantage on deception since he doesn't have emotions on his face?
It's really hard to...
Raimi off to the side, shaking his head. Oldest trick in the book.
But after that, it's pretty average. All in all, I'd say with something like this, you'd be forced to say that you didn't lose or win much. Let's see. No. Apparently, it's a slight bit of luck. He did manage, in the end, to win 9 gold and 1 silver.
Sweet.
This is how gambling problems get fixed, kids.
Yeah.
And then you just keep winning. Even when you lose.
Because 10 is an average and you got 11, I sort of took that into consideration. And okay, there's a chance that you lost, there's a chance that you won. And the dice said you won a little bit. So you lost your fair numbers of hand, but you managed to win also a fair number of hands. And this is the result.
No, I just
He
lost
spends his win.
so big on that first hand and then spent the entire time slowly crawling back. And once I got to around where I was, I called it quits.
Respectable.
And then you take your winnings and you spend them all at the casino gift shop.
Yeah.
Buying truffles that you can't eat.
The overpriced keychain.
All right, and so the first half of this voyage is spent like this. A bit monotonous, but, not bad. It's a good change of pace. It's not overly active, but gives you a little bit of time to relax, ask a few questions, think about yourself, think about what you've done. And but after 1 week of travel, someone comes and gets you all to follow him and go to the captain.
Sailor NPC number 2.
Oh, if you want to have someone, the first mate comes and gathers all of you. First mate is a construct of few words, but he's very expressive. He only talks when he needs to, and it's always very precise. But there's that element of cartoon to him, as he's very expressive.
And he actually has eyebrows, unlike Fisher. Eyebrows actually move.
When you arrive, well, do you follow first mate to the captain?
Yeah, why not?
No. So, you follow first mate, and when you arrive in the bridge, the captain is helming the ship right now. And he looks at all of you and says, about time you arrived. We seem to have picked up a little something. You forgot to tell me someone had the hots for you. You seem to be followed by someone.
Rainy looks left, looks right.
Proximity alert has just been triggered. Unfortunately, we are a bit short on people. So, and he turns toward you, Remy. He says, Remy, my friend with the perfect memory, I'll need you to go on the observation deck. Bring someone with a good sense of observation. I need a visual confirmation of what's following us.
Just looks at audience. No. Looks at Fisher. No. Looks at Jorg. Incapacitated.
He's sleeping.
Sighs and
The
Kobayashi with him.
All right, let's go.
the Pterodon's not terrible.
Well, if audience can get Magna out, he's good.
So you need us to find people that are following us?
Yeah, he needs someone to go out on the deck, spot what's following us, and have Remy see it so he can bring back an exact image of this.
All right. Well, let's get going. The faster we do this, the faster we can see what's going on.
You turn around and Ramy's already gone.
Oh, my lord.
Come on, Remy, we need to... God damn it.
I start walking up to the observation deck.
All right. You make your way up. And when you go outside, you sort of realize that you're in a good situation for playing hide and seek. You're on the same level as clouds. There are many clouds. Fortunately, it's hide and seek for everyone. So, enemy is also probably doing the same thing, using the cloud cover to hide themselves. So, you have to spot them. Whichever way you can. When you arrive on this observation deck and you get out, first mate follows you out. He hands you a rope with a python on it. He looks at you, Tobiashi, and says, there is a python every 10 feet on the hull, should you need to go down. And he hands you the rope with the python.
I know he didn't make the insinuation, but I feel it. I can feel it. He knows what happened. I know he does.
No,
So-
he's not saying anything. Well, Remy is, but he's not.
Hey, to be clear, Raimi never said a word.
All right, I'm going to. So Remy, how do you want to do this? You want to take like top, and then I'll go down below, or wait, are we climbing up? What are we doing? We're trying to get
The observation
an upper...
deck is on top. You
Yes.
know now that you can tie a rope to pythons that have been placed on the hull, so maintenance can be done, repair can be done.
Okay.
Make sure you don't fall off the ship. All
right. Going up.
Or down, you know.
All right.
The observation deck only goes as far as the half of the ship. So there's also quite a bit of room to go completely to the front of the ship.
All right. Well, Remy, do we want to go up or down to see? What do you want to take? Like, okay, so I have two ideas. You could stay up and look around, and I could go to the bottom and look around, or that wouldn't really work because you need to see it, huh? What's your idea, Remy?
I think Raimi just just like stares out, and he's also just going to try and see if he can see it without moving up or down,
All right.
and then make the decision based on that.
Make a
And I think for this situation, unless it's hindered in some way, he's going to try and see if he can use the spyglass to assist.
Okay, yeah, increase your range. Okay. Yes, of
I'll look
course.
around too.
He'll also probably go ahead and activate his lantern since this seems important.
All right. Well, go ahead. Roll your perception. I'll take into consideration that your range of sight is increased.
I'll take a look too.
Go ahead.
$18.
So, well, I don't know which one would have showed up first, but thankfully the natural one was canceled by advantage. So instead, we're looking at a 25.
All right. So, Remy, you start looking everywhere. With the spyglass, Tobiyashi, you are looking. Where are you looking exactly?
I guess I'll be looking. I'm not really sure. I might be obscured. I'll just be looking over the edge, kind of like looking off downwards instead of
Okay.
like straight around.
Okay. So, Remy, looking where you are, trying to figure out if you can see anything. You do manage to see one ship that just comes out of one cloud and slowly goes back into another one. You have a brief moment of, come on, not them again. You do recognize painted on the hull the emblem of the hunter god.
You knew it.
Tobiyashi, you start looking around and you don't see anything. Ground, nothing. You go to the other side. You don't see anything. Look a bit forward, and just as you're about to look away, You can swear you saw something slightly come out of a cloud in front, diagonally down from the ship. Just came out, something that shined, and then it went back inside went back inside of a cloud.
I'll go back to Remy. I'm like, I saw something over there. It was kind of shiny. It kind of like went into a cloud, went out of a cloud, went into a cloud. All I seen was a glint of light, like reflecting off of something. That's pretty much all I seen over here.
Raimi has a look in his face, and
Am I pointing in
as
the
I guess
direction than where Remy's looking?
Sorry? I didn't
Am
hear.
I looking? Am I looking in the opposite direction where Remy's looking?
Yeah, Remy spotted something straight back. You spotted something trying to move in front of the ship.
Okay.
And just as you're both talking to one another, you have this moment of, is it getting dark here? And then you both look up and you see this huge ship, fairly high up, but that is also making its way, going in front of the angle of the sun. This ship is quite big. And he's not trying to hide himself too well.
like based on their proximity, does it seem likely it was the same ship that Raimi saw, or is this a different one?
You're pretty sure it's a different one.
Oh, that's 3 ships, maybe. Well,
I guess Raimi will, for the benefit of everybody else in the room, is going to minor illusion the still image of the hunter cult ship that he saw, and then immediately starts running to see if he can get any discerning details about the ship above them.
I will run downstairs and warn everybody else that there is the hunter cult. Like where the captain. Well, I don't know. Where were they at when they told us to come up here and look?
That would be the upper deck. The ship has 3 decks. The first deck is where the helm is and most of the crew quarter is. The galley is also there, but most of the food is stored below. The second deck is a bit of a mishmash of different things. The front is the entire engine section. The back, there is a little bit of engine at the back. There is the food store there, but there is also weapon cache there. The third deck is mostly where all of the supplies are stored. Cargo crates also. And it is where the armament of the ship is also. You also have the generator for the barrier that is on that deck.
Okay, I guess I'll go and warn everybody where they told us to come up here from. Go over there and tell audience and Fisher and the captain what we've seen.
Well, interesting.
Well.
But I quite remember seeing your feathered friend doing illusions. I very much would love to see what kind of ship is running after us.
It's right above us, though. And I'm pretty sure there's another ship going in front of us.
Well, can you tell your friend to come down here and give us a very good look out of these ship?
I mean, sure. I'll go run back up there and look for Remy wherever he's
Toby,
at.
you're useless. We want the other one.
I'm not sure about the other one. We don't talk about it. From what I know, there's 2 of them.
Anyways, like in that interim time, was Randy able to determine like any particular details about the ship above them, or is it just too dark?
Yes and no. It's positioned in a way that doesn't help you to see any markings on it, but you are fairly certain they are in some ways allies of the, at least allies of the Hunter cult, if not a ship of the Hunter cult. But judging from the size of it, it is a most likely a massive warship. It would
Okay.
outgun the ship that you're on right now in a.
That's more the information he was looking for. That's the information he goes running to regroup.
All right.
Like that's the information he was looking for. It's like gun. Oh, that's a big gun. Or cannon, I guess. You know what I mean?
Ballistas. Arcane ballistas. All right. Well, while Tobyashi's going outside to get Remy back in and meets Remy midway and then comes back down, Captain looks at audience and Fisher and then, so, is this an ex I should be worried about, or someone that you still haven't had the time to inform them that they should leave you alone?
It kind of varies. Sometimes they're just annoying, and sometimes they kind of wreck shop. So,
Yes. The jealous lover. I get that. All right. Well, as soon as we can have an accurate picture of what's following us, I guess we'll get to see just how well they can pilot their ship.
I lean over to audience and kind of whisper, I don't really understand these references. What does he mean?
I mean,
Is it important?
no,
Okay.
not really. I also don't think jealous lover is the correct representation at this time, but we'll see what the ships look like when Ruby gets back, or when Ruby comes down.
Most
We'll
likely.
see how much.
Yeah, it's not that. It's only one deck that separates you from where Remy was. He gets down here pretty fast and gives an image. And, of course, there's the first image of the ship that's a long way out. And there's the image of the ship that's over there that Tobiyashi pointed, which is a bit of an awkward image. And then there's the massive ship that's right on top of you, where the image is good enough that you sort of go, right, we have 3 cannons. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay.
But we can outrun them.
Evasive maneuvers.
Did you say that
Right.
out loud? Audience.
said- No,
No?
audience thinks that.
Okay.
Where did
I will
they get
ask the
that?
captain. He'd ask.
Yeah, I
the-
thought there was only a couple of these boats around. Do they have 3 of them?
Flying ships are uncommon. They're not rare. They're costly, though.
But they're like trying to recuperate. Why would they spend stuff on a flying ship when they're trying to recuperate the forces that they've lost and feed this? Okay.
It's always fun to throw shit at your enemies from high up.
What? How far up was the boat when I last seen it?
2,000 or 3,000 feet.
Okay. So what
I'd
are we
prob-
planning to do, guys? What's
I'd
the
probably
deal?
ask the captain, is this ship faster than warships, than a large warship like that?
When you say this, and you say this just as we're about to go to the break, the moment you say, "Is your ship fast?" you see a large grin appearing on Captain Null's face. And this is where the break starts.
Well, hopefully that means we're fast.
Food for speed. Go.
Well, let's just put it like this in terms of mechanics. Finding Captain Null to get to the Misty Isles was not an assured thing. You could have went over it. So there is a reward for this. And we're going to go on break with that thought.
As a reward, we don't die to the warship.
He pulls down a plaque, and behind the plaque it says "Lightning McQueen." No, just like,
Actually, no. Part of me really wants him to answer, like with something like a kind of an innuendo, like he did the last time. Just like.
All right. Well, if you want that for an answer, hold on. He gives you a grin and says, "Well, it's not about how many you can take on all at once. It's all about taking them all on one after the other, all night long." Is
Got
that
it.
better?
Got it.
I thought he was gonna be like, it was faster than my last relationship. If that counts, I'm just like,
All right, so
Fast as Tobiyashi in bed. Man,
especially with Step of the Wind, my guy. I'm telling you what.
God damn.
okay, let's go on break before someone says something that's gonna get us
Someone's feelings
banned.
get hurt.
All right, so we're gonna do Valen V Proud because she's there tonight. We're gonna go with Marsh Sounds and Duck for the break.
Eh.
All right, and up. Here we go. So, see you again in 15 minutes. After you had a chance to internalize all of the innuendos we've had recently. So, come on, and see you in 15 minutes. Bye. Hello and welcome back. So, thank goodness the players have settled. And the innuendos will...
Keep going.
Yeah, because let's face it, they're D&D players. So... Alright. So, as soon as you see that grin, as soon as Captain Null makes this intriguing remark, making you wonder, damn, how many has he been with in a single night? You immediately see First Mate eyes going very wide. He gets a rope out and he triple ties himself to the railing of this room.
I guess I'm gonna follow him and do the same thing, but with my
Yep.
silk.
I got my rope of climbing, so I'll use that.
What about Remy and Fisher?
Raimi is going to tie himself to Fisher.
Fisher's just gonna grab something to hold on to.
And Jorg ties himself to the railing with his blanket. I feel so. It feels so much like Charlie Brown when I say this.
Are you sure you're not going to tie yourself to something?
I mean, we're inside, correct?
All right, man. You better
Rainy
see
changes
watching
his
the other.
mind and reattaches the knot to audience instead.
Immediately you hear someone screaming, "Retract sails!"
I mean, I'm bracing myself against something sturdy like the wall of the ship.
And then you hear someone say, "Increasing speed to cruising speed." You start hearing the engine going from the very low, start increasing speed. Then you hear someone screaming, "Brace for combat speed!" And the thrumming of the engine becomes so fast that it starts feeling like a single sound. And you start feeling the speed of this ship increasing. You have this moment of like being in an elevator, but that elevator is going in a straight line. You see First Mate not only finishing tying himself up, but grabbing the railing and looking at all of you, and especially you, Fisher. It just says, "I hope you have a thick skull."
Please tell me Terranet has a response to that.
Well, you don't hear it. But from inside of you, Fisher, you do hear, "Oh yeah, thicker than you know. And thicker than I hope you." Oh, no. And then you feel the ship going down in a single bound. You have never felt this sharp of a drop. Your feet just goes up the floor and you start floating for a moment as Captain Null just shoved the entire steering wheel down. You are in a free fall straight down. And you have this moment of, "Remy, it's, oh wow, I'm flying. I'm actually flying. Yeah!"
Suck it, gravity.
And it lasts a good 10 or 12 seconds before none of you have ever felt this, well, we call it negative G's. Because Captain Null pulls the wheel so hard, you are slammed and pushed
Cast Featherfall.
to the ground. Sorry?
I guess Featherfall.
All right, you are slammed on the ceiling.
Well, when we start changing, right? Because we're going down, I'm falling, and as soon as we stop going down, if I would hit the floor, I should more slowly hit the floor, right? If we then start going back up.
Well, the thing is that Featherfall is going to help you to slow down. The problem is that the ship is going so fast that it's like in an elevator. It's not enough to completely cushion everything, and you fall down slowly, which means the ceiling is coming up to you much faster, because suddenly the boat goes.
Actually, from a physical standpoint, the real problem here is that Featherfall explicitly says that it reduces your falling speed to 60 feet per round. That means that you are falling in the downward direction at a rate of 60 feet per 6 seconds. doesn't change how quickly the ship itself is moving in any other direction. Uh, so if you are, for example, falling slower than the ship, then you actually would run into the ceiling.
Yeah. But
Fun physics lesson
If
for
I-
those.
You have this moment of seeing everyone floating, and just as you see Null starting to pull on the wheel, oh, I have a good idea, feather fall. But you sort of have this moment of, oh yeah, pull the steering wheel. So oh no, find yourself completely squashed on the ceiling. You hear Terranad from inside of you. Good job!
yeah.
These maneuvers goes on for a straight minute as you are being tossed left and right as this ship is apparently moving so fast. Even the inside of the ship is having difficulty following this. The change of direction are so sharp. You're being tossed left and right.
Oh, Toby in his mind is just thinking, hopefully I secured those fruits right. Oh, hopefully the spices aren't everywhere.
You have a few moments to look at a porthole on the side, and you've never seen the world move so fast. Clouds are just going. That was a big cloud. That is the peak of a mountain. We're in an island chain. You eventually hear someone going, I think we lost one. You hear another one go, that mountain just lost another one for us. Eventually, the ship stabilizes a little bit, going back up, and you hear all of the crew inside of this cabin going, You hear someone in the background go,
Fisher, you alright? Buddy?
I throw up all over audience.
I also imagine just like one crew member is like, why do we have a Dragonborn captain again?
You have this moment of football. Oh, it's still acting. Oh, oh, we're going up.
Well, I can't throw up.
Fisher, that's a
But I
nice
kinda
new
feel like I
dent in
should.
your That's a nice new dent in your back plating there.
It's just Remy squished up against him. It's
No,
kinda
Remy
like-
was smart and retied the audience.
Oh, you retied. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, wait, no, he's not securing himself. Well, then I'm not going to attach. Then Raimi is not going to attach himself to the heaviest thing in the room that isn't secured.
Maybe I missed this, but did the captain secure himself to anything, or was it just the first mate?
Well, you quickly realize that just in front of the steering wheels, there's those two leather strappings on the floor. And to the side of the steering, there are something that you can actually just grab and tie around your wrist. So he was secured before you arrived.
I missed that.
You have a moment of, is it over? I feel like my stomach is in my brain. You hear one crewmate saying, I think we still have one on our tail. That was
Which one?
impressive. as you hear this, as you ask this, you hear a little ying, 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 ying on the entire board of things in front of the captain. And, oh, interesting. Someone wants to talk to us.
Let's go.
You switch it on,
It's
and
The Borg.
you.
We are the Borg. Resistance.
This
Boston
futile
Cold.
preparation is irrelevant. I know they've never said both things in the same sentence. I know. You have the emblem of the Iron Wing, the massive military organization that you saw, audience, when you were at the table. You see this emblem appearing first, and then you see a very stern-looking human going, Captain Null, you have just entered our detection net. Did you need assistance? Well, apparently there's someone that can keep up with our new engines. Very well. Just bring them closer to our lines. We'll see you in 7 seconds. And he closed the line. Well, let's see if there's a cloud we can hide while we're doing this. You see Captain Null starting to maneuver. He goes, all right. Nice position. Maybe you'd like to go... He looks at all of you who aren't throwing up. Maybe you'd like to go to the observation deck to see this.
Audience will head to the observation deck.
I'm gonna
He
go
wants
with
to
them.
see.
Rainey, still attached to audience, follows him.
Fisher gets
Figuratively
up.
and literally.
Fisher gets up. I still function.
Get up.
You most likely took some damage, but I'm not going to make you roll for the damage because getting Captain Null prevented you from this very awkward losing combat. So you get up a bit sore about having been tossed around in slow motion.
I like flex my arms forward and my back plate like pops out back into place.
Oh! So you go on the deck and you arrive just in time to see the ship slowing down. And you see not a massive ship, but one that is of an impressive size, arriving slowly. You notice that all around there are clouds. It completely blocks off the view more than about 200 feet off the ship. You immediately hear someone from the other ship screaming at all of you. Surrender and prepare to be boarded.
I yell back up. Didn't ask. Sorry.
You hear someone from the other ship. Well, if this is your answer, prepare to fire. We can pick up their corpse in the ocean.
I thought they wanted me alive.
Apparently,
This isn't all about you, okay?
Apparently,
I think it's alive or dead.
Tobiyashi
Just-
angered him,
Yeah.
and he's feeling confident. You see all of the ballistas aiming down toward your ship, and you have this moment of, they have inferior technologies. Ours don't need to be sticking outside of the ship. And just as the ship lowers to the point where it would be able to completely pulverize the ship, you start seeing one ship appearing from behind their ship, then the second one, then a third one, 4, 5, 6, and slowly this cloud of ship starts appearing all around you, all with their guns pointed toward that single enemy ship. When everything is done, you see the other ship leveling in front of your observation deck. You see maybe 100 people on their upper deck, which were preparing to board the ship, but you all see them just going, oh no. As there is probably well over 100 ship creating a ring around that ship.
Let's go.
This is why it's good to have friends.
You hear the
Rich friends.
person. Yeah. You hear the person that was on the deck just go, well, you may take us, but we will have time to take you down.
Like I said, didn't ask.
You hear something speak from inside of the ship. It booms outside. You hear the voice of Captain Null saying, alright, you can fire! We'll leave you the first shot! You hear
Boss, I
silence.
think this might be a trap.
You hear silence from the enemy ship. You hear Captain Null saying, good choice! You see 24 ship moving forward and going right next to their ship, and their troops slowly board the ship of the Hunter Cult.
Let's go. Can we take to that ship?
I think
that ship to the mist.
I think technically the military has confiscated that ship. It's theirs now.
Yeah.
Slowly
This ship
you
has been
see...
taken in the name of the moon.
Slowly you see an entire contingency of soldiers entering this ship, capturing every single one of their members, and then coming out. You do hear a few explosions inside of the ship, but it quickly quiets down. Then you have First Mate that arrives on the deck, and I hope you had a pleasant show. We need to go back to our expedition. Say goodbye. He looks at the ship. Bye.
You
Audience
hear a
will
child's
wave.
voice coming out of Rainy. Bye bye.
What did the audience do?
Audience will just wave.
Oh, also wave. I already said didn't ask twice, so that's my goal.
Fish is just gonna go back inside.
Popping back his hips properly. Ah!
And it's a good thing that Terry's okay.
Well, yeah.
That's why I got his new thing.
The box is protected
That's what I mean.
against
It's just
shock.
like,
Terry might have had a little elevator sensation at one point, but, you know, just that... Oh, well, that's weird. Ooh, interesting.
ears might have popped.
Or whatever he has. 4 years.
His ear holes.
Since he's perceiving sound through his skin popped. How does that work? I'm not sure I want to know.
Like, his skin actually is covered in like various tiny boils, and like a few of them popped.
Ah, no, I don't like this image. So, you all go back in, and slowly you have everything going back to normal. The door closes, you see a few of the deckhands still being queasy from that last one. When you arrive at the bridge, you see Captain Captain Null there. Oh, that was an interesting baptism of the engine. I like it. It's fast, it's swift. You hear someone say, "We passed less than 10 feet away from a mountain." That's what I said. It's fast, it's swift. Now then.
Meanwhile, there's a charter plane headed by an archaeologist going by.
Now then. Little bit of a scare, but everything turned out well. You can all go back to your things. This is why I am here. And you as well. Everyone is slightly queasy. That day, you hear many people talking about this maneuver, and you even hear some say, "I think we made a mistake. We should never have given that engine to him." And for the first time, you hear someone say, "Well, where we're gonna go, we won't have to worry about mountains, but we are going to have to get there fast. Supplies are going to be limited. I don't think we're going to be able to refuel." You have several that can. Yeah. And you don't think they're talking about the Misty Isles. The next morning, everything goes back to normal. And you have this mixed feeling of, alright, well, we did a good thing. Hiring him. Not good for our stomach. Fisher looks like he's been tossed around, quite literally. But this is the DM saying, yes, getting him was the way to completely avoid this desperate fight to survive against 3 ships trying to sink you. And an army of people, and having to figure out how the heck are you going to get out of being killed by 3 armies. So you cannot...
Divine Smite. The answer is always Divine Smite.
I don't think you have that many.
Plan 0 for this group always
Thunderbolt.
seems to be the brick.
Yeah, the actual
brick.
would be the.
We could have put it on the ship. It would have blown up. One ship
that would have
gone.
been 1.
So if we combine them into a chain reaction to blow them through using.
Oh, damn. There were 3 ships, and I gave you 3 brick long ago. Maybe there was something there. No, I'm kidding.
That's too much foresight.
All we need is a break, divine smite, and lightning bolt twice, and we win everything.
And the paperclip.
Yeah. Did you say a paperclip?
Yes.
So what we do is we each get captured by a different ship, then sabotage their engines, blowing them up as we run back and do a hero leap back to our other ship as it leaves.
And then
Barely
one of you
catching
rolls
on
a
to it.
natural 1 and jump off the ship and miss the side of the ship. It just keeps going.
It would
That's
probably
what,
kind of
that's what,
Kingdom
that's,
Hearts
that's,
bullshit
what,
is
that's
this?
what we have Jorg for. You can catch us.
I would fall and then just shoot my I was gonna say webbing, my silk onto the ridge.
Tobayashi's showing his hand. He's turning into a spider. Confirmed.
My final transformation.
He's indebted to the Dashari Queen.
This isn't even my final form.
All right.
All right.
And so, travel resumes. And for about a day and a half, you have a very well-armed escort. And then you are left to your own things. And the ship goes back to its normal less costly cruising speed. Which now, for some reason, feels very slow. I mean, before you were going about twice as fast as a normal ship. But now, after seeing how fast this ship can go, you know, you see the cloud. It's coming. It's coming. It's still coming. Damn, it felt like it was just zipped by the first time.
Boring.
Yeah, everything becomes a little bit more boring now because everything is slower. Time goes by. If you have anything else you'd like to talk about, if not, then I can skip the next 5 days.
On the last day, I want to do something before we have to leave the boat.
Okay.
I would like to sneak to the bottom of the ship using stealth.
No.
I thought you were going to use your constitution.
Never. All right. 16.
Okay.
I go to the very bottom of the boat, as far down as I could go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out. When I get to the bottom of the boat, what is at the very bottom? Is there another like entrance? Is there a like hallway
It's
all the way at the
mostly
bottom?
cargo space, so it's very wide open. There is a room dedicated to the barrier generator and the armament, but most of this deck is taken for cargo.
All right, I climb all the way back to the back of the cargo, all the way into the back, where mostly nobody will probably see unless they're taking all the cargo out. I kind of move some boxes to the side to get to the back wall where I can stand there, and I am going to take out my head of defacing, and I take out a couple colors. I'm saying mainly blue because I think that might be our color, like a dark kind of like, not navy blue, but more of like a dark, I would say maroon, but blue.
Okay.
Yeah, maroon, but blue. You know what I mean? So that kind of blue, I take it out, and then I am going to crush the beads into my hand.
I believe that's called magenta.
Yeah, magenta then. I'm gonna.
I'm just laughing, just like it's like this color, but a completely different color.
But a whole different color of a different kind of. Yeah. So, actually, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna throw them at the wall, trying to spell out "Time Nights Were Here." The very back of the boat.
All right.
Back wall of the cargo wall.
Well, you managed to do this because no one is paying attention to you. They all mostly trust you. They know you're not going to try and sink the ship, so they do leave you alone, and they don't continuously observe everything you're going to do. So you have this moment where you can confidently write that the time nights were here. Now I'm going to have to take that into consideration should you decide to take that as the next campaign.
Oh, there. And then I sneak back up to the top of the boat and get ready for us to leave.
Alright. So, on the very last day, well, probably for this, probably the night before. But doesn't change that Tobiyashi does that in that morning, the next morning.
Well, I guess how many more takers for dinner time truffles?
Well, it was midway,
week.
so it's probably exactly the same. We're gonna go with this time. Everyone knows and is convinced of the quality that you're serving, so it's going to be 260 gold and 40 silver. And 2 copper. One person took 2.
I'd just like to say for the record that Raimi made some great investments with the stuff that he took from the Crossroads stuff.
The greatest one being taking a selfie of yourself in the past. So, the night before the last day, Civ does call you all in the same room. And a large portion of what he says is the same thing that Fisher shared with you. He talks to you about the judge, which is the mist itself. He talks to you about the island chain itself. The island chain is composed of 3 large islands. Their official name is Low Sal, Mid Sal, and High Sal. Unfortunately, Mid Sal has been completely abandoned. The name Low and High Sal are a deformation of the very old common dialect, simply referring to each island as being the level of security that it was on. Essentially, Low Sal was the low prison, the low security prison, and High Sal was the high security prison. Over time, this has been lost, and everything just became of the same level. But the name persevered. Where things change is when he starts talking about what's going to happen when you touch down. First, he tells you about the barrier itself. The barrier is a jarring event for your mind. If you resist it, the judge will tear your mind apart without remorse. You have to remember that this was an attempt a few hundred years after the shattering to isolate problematic component of society. When the gods started to answer the call again of people praying, many settlements were faced with the fact that they relied on people who had very flexible morality. This was their attempt at removing them. They used the means they had left and created this island chain. The arcane knowledge held in there is probably the most advanced you'll find on your world, with the exception of the garden. They are relics from the shattering itself. They were the available resource of the time, and they built this island for this. They sent the problematic component of their society there to be judged as harshly as possible. And so you will be judged by this living mist. If you resist it, it will tear your mind apart. And it will tell you things you do not want to admit. It will not care how you see these events. It is the law. It is order without good or evil intents. When sentence is pronounced, you will regain consciousness. Hopefully nothing bad will happen, and we will try to make landfall in one of the coastal village. It is the only place where small village can sustain themselves. The further you go inside of an island, the more you only find towns. Because of the mist. The mist is both used as the presence of the judge, but it is also a source of energy used, which help them fuel the technologies that are in there, the arcane knowledge. It is used for many things: transportation, light, but it is also the main source of energy that necromancer use. So the undead roam these islands. Before a certain event, these were a minor part of the islands. But over time, the ruler of your world decided that the island was no longer necessary. So they started to send less and less resource. The wardens left on the island found themselves having to manage a ever-growing population with fewer and fewer resources. The mist would also collect ships moving too close to its borders, judging everyone on the ship, keeping the guilty, and giving an option to the not guilty to leave. So things did not go according to your ruler's plan. The population did not obliterate itself. It grew, it stabilized. It made its own civilization. But it was governed by people of low morality. Tyranny became the standard. The wizards did their best to keep order. But eventually, they stopped receiving reinforcement, and so they had to turn to the population of these isles to find replacements, to find people gifted with magic, capable of using it, and capable of harnessing the raw power of the mist. when the population realized this, they started to turn on those gifted. They tried themselves to use them like you would use firewood. It was a most dark and sinister chapter in these islands. Atrocities were committed over and over again on them. Eventually, they nearly disappeared. Nowadays, at least since the last time I was there, you can still see sorcerers appearing from time to time. But wizards, all but extinct. They can only be found in the spire. Eventually, even those came to be lacking, and they turned to the artificial life forms, those like Fisher and me. They repurposed them, turned them into their enforcers. Fisher, you're used to hearing Construct talking, and when he says enforcers, you do detect a level of disdain when he says this. There are many enforcers. They will use anything they can find against you. They were made to be as ruthless as those they were repurposed to control. Do not make waves in there. The moment they realize you have an hesitation that they can manipulate you, force you to submit, they will use it. They will turn on children. They will turn on women. They will turn on you to make sure that all of you yield. This is the world you are entering. Nowadays, most people simply try to live. The tyranny of old have subsided, and they were all replaced with the tyranny of the wizard. They say it is the last wizard, but he has been living for hundreds of years. All he does is prepare for the time someone will try to take over the spire. And there's nothing more dangerous than a wizard that has time to prepare.
The only more powerful warrior was Batman.
So I didn't sign this in the contract that we were talking about that. I thought we were just going to take over or something. And no, I'm kidding. Toby doesn't say this.
It wasn't in my contract, I didn't want to take this cruise.
We're getting hazard pay, right?
Getting paid for this, huh? Or is it whatever we find on the island? No, I don't say that.
It's okay. Sev continues by saying, if you have to fight, choose your battle. They will overwhelm you if they can. They will try to capture you. And if they do, you will be treated the same way a high-level criminal would be. You will be interrogated with the necessary means to make you talk.
Okay.
For you, Tobiyashi, this has a bit of a PTSD moment coming back to it.
I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I've been through that, but I don't want to go through it again.
Most likely, the best place to put the beacon is at the top of the spire. The very place where the wizard lives. Avoid him at all cost. If you are forced to confront him, do your best to run away. He has a barrier around him, one he keeps active every single moment. Touching the barrier will unleash a torrent of electrical energy into the body of the person touching it. It will not relent until the creature stops touching the field. He will use this to torture you if he sees you cannot move. The barrier is not impossible to break. The problem is keeping it down. So long as he can keep concentration on the barrier, it will only take a few moments for the barrier to reform itself. It can take massive amounts of energy. Even dispelling the barrier will only remove it for a while, a few moments. It will reform, unless you can make sure the wizard loses its concentration, which is not an easy task. His mind has grown to be so powerful and forceful. He will try to subjugate you with his voice, and that is enough for many people. Audience, you have a moment of, okay, he can use command. Got it.
So you're saying this is a hit and run mission? Well, more of a sneak and run mission?
That is
This is just a run mission. You just run the entire
You just
time.
run from everything?
Yeah.
That is where you have to place the beacon. Now for the creature you're trying to save, that is the questions. That is the real search.
Oh, save someone. I forgot. I thought it was just the beacon.
No, like the garden said, the goal is to save the creature of light. But they value your life more than a successful mission, so they're giving you a way out. Most likely, the information we will need will be in the spire. But if we are lucky, there are many libraries in the islands. Maybe one of them will have the information you seek. Most of them are deserted. As I've said, there are not many mages in there. But some people still take care of them. You could find something there. Maybe an ally, if nothing else. If you find yourself without my guidance, and you are forced to go to Midsal, a few hundred years ago, the villagers tried to attack one of the generator, providing protection to the spire. They managed to damage it, but they did not realize that this would activate a contingency. The mist on this island became so potent. People would rise from their death before their knees touched the ground. That island is completely overrun by the undead. Some people do try from time to time to retake it, but settlement never lasts. But it is also the best place to hide, should you need to.
Would destroying it all the way stop it? Or will the contingency still go?
No one has dared try to destroy it since. Everyone is afraid that the mist will simply get even more potent.
So we have this Brit. No, I'm just playing. I'm kidding.
So what is the generator? So like, how is the generator protecting the spire exactly? What would be the benefit of destroying the generator?
The spire is protected against major attacks. There are several rebellious cells that often try to take over the tower, but they usually are repelled. One group managed to find one of these generators buried 200 feet below the ground. They tried to destroy it, believing that it would weaken the barrier around the spire. It did not, and it turned the island into an unliving graveyard. No one has dared speculate about the use of these generators since. But it is not necessarily to destroy the generator to get inside. It is simply necessary to destroy them to get large contingent inside. There is one way to enter the spire from an island. There is a long bridge. There is a train that goes from... None of you know what this word means. Except you, Fisher. The word feels familiar. You don't know what it means, but it does feel familiar.
Oh, I've been waiting for a train.
We named it Thomas.
There is a train going from the island directly to the spire. The road takes nearly 3 days on that bridge. It is both the only way in and the most vulnerable way in. You are completely isolated. Many people try attacking these trains. Some have even tried to destroy the bridge, hoping that starving the spire would work. But every time someone destroys one of the bridge, the next morning it is there again.
What is a train?
Very similar to a cart, except much larger, capable of holding sometime up to hundreds of people, and just as many goods. They use the mist to power themselves and move forward. You'll need an operator for the train.
So a boat with wheels?
Strange analogy, but not that bad of a comparison. I would more compare it to a chain of cart being pulled forward by a very impressive metal beast. as I've said, you'll need an operator. Fisher, that word rings inside of you. You don't know what it means, but it is something you know. Maybe you don't want to suppose what it means, but it feels so familiar, as if someone called you that before. These operators can take care of the train, get it to the spire. That is the easiest, but also most dangerous route.
What are the chances that's what I used to do?
I thought you were a fisher.
Well, there are many constructs that used to work on trains. The emblem on you does suggest that you were part of these trains, but you could have been, just like on a ship, a simple deckhand. You could have been security for prisoners, for supplies. You could have been maintenance, but you could have
Would have been
also
the
have been.
master.
You could also have been a conductor, an operator.
Tickets here. I need your tickets.
Maybe you could try one of the libraries inside of the village. If you're an old enough model, you will have been handmade, and records may exist.
All right.
That is
A
all the
shot.
help I can give you. From the moment we arrive there, do your best to find a place to regroup if you are separated. You'll have to find a way to get to the spire. You'll have to find a way to climb the spire. And you'll have to find where your target is. And one last thing. As you're moving through this world, remember this. If you suddenly hear shuffling, hide. If you hear moaning, walk away. If you hear shuffling and moaning, run as if your life depended on it, because it most likely will. If you have questions, now would be the time to ask them. Otherwise, I will wish you a good night.
So you said there was towns. So there's people here?
Yes, over the centuries, the millennia, the population settled, and eventually towns, even cities, were founded.
My question is, if people were brought in and they couldn't leave, they made a city, congregated, had children. Could those children leave, or are they still under the same clause as the people who first came and gave birth to them?
Originally, because the society was run through tyranny, everyone was still held under the judge's eyes. Parents would teach their children that the ends always justify the means. That kept everyone there. Over time, the population lost the desire to try and leave, the trial, the judgment of the judge is harsh. Many people do not wish to see this mirror in front of them. Over time, the population became less tyrannic, but the wardens did. So everything stayed the same.
So could my next question, last question. So could we get attacked by children?
No, there are still just children. There are still normal people, the people you would find anywhere. They have just been so indoctrinated in their guilt, in the judgment, in facing everything you do not wish to face, that they do not even try to leave.
It's almost like the opposite of a cult. And
As he says,
no,
looking at audience.
kind of side-eyeing. Like I look at him real quick, look back. Anyways, all right. Well, it's our duty to do what we can.
The disruptive elements of the society of then form the greater numbers in there. Dragonborns are not a regular occurrence. I would suggest that you wear a cloak. Do not draw attention.
And put those muscles away.
At least wear a shirt. You will draw less attention. Yes, I know. It is a wink that I'm making the dungeon master toward Remy.
Actually, you know what? This probably is as good at times. Then Raimi slowly reaches a hand into his backpack and slowly pulls out a Dragonborn size shirt.
Oh. Is that a shirt for me, Remy?
Raimi nods enthusiastically.
I mean, I guess if I have to wear one. Ugh.
I'll also give you something. If you see a cloak that you like, or a disguise that you want, or anything above that, and I'll hand him my needle of disguise.
Okay. And for your reference, audience, the shirt that Remy has handed you is called the Mending Shirt of Vanity. I built it, and it is on D&D Beyond right now.
Okay, I'll add it.
It is a custom item that Remy asked to be made.
Am I gonna bring unnecessary attention?
So long as you do not draw attention to you being sentient. Although it would be less of a problem than if you had been an enforcer.
So long as you don't wear a ridiculous hat.
What? Why? No!
Keep in mind that many constructs were repurposed in time. Repurposed into some sort of combatant. And they performed atrocities. Slaughtered people. People will always remember this. There have been dark chapters in the island chain where constructs were sent to sterilize settlement. Kill them in the most gruesome and visible way possible so that an example was made. You are part of the railroad. People might look at you more favorably because of this. But it is not a guarantee.
All right.
But you will find
Got a
more.
way around that.
You will find more acceptance here than you have had on the island chain that you were before. This has been a fact in their lives for several hundred years. They know it is possible. They do not question it. What they question is, why did you stop? Why did you not stop killing my cousin? Why did you slaughter my brother's family? Why did you not stop it? This is what people think about.
Yeah, that was that same old stuff.
But like
So-
I said, you will find more acceptance. It has been a fact of life here.
We don't have any idea where the person we're trying to rescue is. Right?
No, not for certain.
But there's a very good chance that it's in the Spire somewhere.
Anything of power will have been taken to the Spire. If it was
We just
found,
gotta-
it will be in the Spire. If it was not found, then you have an even harder task to find it. In all of the 3 islands of this island chain.
I thought it was captured though.
That cannot be confirmed.
Do you think if one or all of us were captured, we'd be taken to the Spire?
Yes. It is one way inside of the Spire. But I am not
You'll-
sure you would find it easy to escape their prisons.
Yeah.
I feel like trying to hitch a ride on a train is our best bet.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying if any of us get captured, we know where to find one of us.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah. If someone gets captured, it's kind of just
Into the Spire if they're strong
yeah,
enough.
the same continue the mission, and then there's just an extra
Bonus
thing to
round!
do when we get there.
Rescue
Yeah.
the
Just
player!
gotta rescue 2 people instead of 1.
Well, if we still have our orb on us and one of us travels, wouldn't we all?
Well, we're not gonna be able to until we place the beacon.
So one of us will have to take the torture until then if we get captured. Seems legit.
Everybody just slowly turns their head to Toby.
Don't look at me like that. I'm not getting tortured again. Yes, I've
Why
been
don't we
blown up.
just
I've been
Focus
tortured.
on not getting caught.
Just saying
Randy
now.
gives an immediate thumbs up at that.
Oh my
It's not a crime if you don't get caught.
So, like Sib said, if you have any more questions, now is the time to ask it. Otherwise, he will wish you good night.
Okay, so we have to. How well guarded It sounds like the trains are pretty well guarded.
There are many ways to use the trains. The trains coming from the two inhabited islands are guarded, but the train from the abandoned island has minimal protection.
There's still a train.
Ooh,
The
Is it
bridge,
still running?
The bridge is still there. The train might need repairs, but there is one.
Okay.
Would
Okay.
they notice if it was a train that has been there for a while?
Is there incoming security for the train?
There are no guarantees. The reason why the train is still there is simply because the Spire lacked the resources to go outside and dismantle it properly.
Okay.
And no one living goes to this island. Some rebel organization will sometime try to use this island for a base of operation, but they know they have to keep moving because the undeads will eventually find them. And
Walking Dead
have their way.
campaign. Let's go. No, sorry.
So it kind of sounds like a course of action should be head to the middle island,
It is one possibility.
try and fix the train, and take that in.
Where one difficulty is removed, a different one is put in place.
Wouldn't our course of action be find the train, go to the next island, find a library, research, see if the person we're trying to save is captured, go back to the train, and take it back with the information that we have to see exactly where they are, or try to go save them before we get on the train.
That is also a
Go to the
possibility.
spire, put down the beacon, get out of there.
Do the trains go between the islands or just from an island to the spire?
There are passenger trains between islands because the road is much shorter. It is more common, but it still costs something. These trains are surveilled more often. There is security. But yes, you can use trains to move between islands. Just like everything else, they are run by people. There is
So
always
is
a way
the-
to buy someone, so they look away.
So is the real danger really just once we get to the spire?
It really depends on the road that you decide to take. Inside
And we
of
don't.
inside of the towns, inside of the cities, enforcers will be your most pressing danger. If they see you, if you draw their attention, they will attack you, and they have the ability to swarm you if you take too long to solve the problem. If you decide to take the path of the abandoned island, you will have hordes and hordes of undead to deal with, and possibly rebel faction which will not treat you as allies, but as potential spies. If you decide to take the train, you might find arcane protections, mechanicals being, just like you and me, protecting the trains. Once you get inside the spire, although not many living creatures are there, there is security. There are construct of war protecting the inside. If you spend too long traveling outside of cities, you will meet the grievers. You will recognize them by the shuffling and moaning they emit when they walk.
And we don't want to fight the Grievers, right? Like we want to run.
Yes, you should run from them.
And we don't want to alert the wizard before we get there.
The faster you deal with a threat, especially arcane threats, like construct, like war machines, the better it will be, because of less chance the wizard will have of finding you.
Yes.
If you create too big of a commotion, the wizard will see it. Many have tried to ally several rebel organizations together. The moment they become too big, the wizard sees them.
Dang, that was one of my ideas. I was going to go full warriors on this bitch.
You have many paths. Each one has its own set of danger. It is a question of which one you feel more comfortable confronting. You may find allies. I would not count on it. But you can find allies in there.
We could talk about plans tomorrow. I have maybe some, but we got to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to sleep or recharge, that is often the best way to internalize information you have been given.
I need to sleep and recharge.
Audience or Sam?
Sam.
Okay.
Why not both?
I was wondering about this. I was wondering, is Sam tired or is audience starting to feel desperate in front of this situation?
Oh no, I'm just exhausted.
Okay.
Why don't we sleep on it?
Okay.
Tomorrow we will be arriving. I believe Captain Null will want to talk to us just before we disembark. Rest well and make your final preparations. We should be arriving at midday.
All right. Well, good night.
Sips turns around and leaves the room. Alright. If you have any questions for the Dungeon Master, for mechanic things, also, I will answer a few of those questions, because I did dump a whole lot of information. Some of that might work weird in your mind. So
We now have to make stealth rolls with strength instead of dexterity.
Hell yeah!
So,
Oh no.
and I guess this is the end of today's stream. As some party member feels like they're going to pass out. So, we're going to leave you with all of these ominous information. This we're all gonna die moment, which awaits you no matter where you look. And just so that
And
you know,
everybody died.
I'm not kidding when I'm saying there are multiple paths to the spire. So, whichever one you decide to take, there's a good chance that I did at least think about it.
You think about me tunneling a giant hole under the island and then up through
You
the
know,
spire?
I was actually thinking just like, what about a shovel?
Well, no, because it would take you way too long.
What if I find the legendary shovel of digging?
Interesting. It's a powerful object. The problem is that it has a curse.
You can't stop digging after you dig.
Exactly. You have this compulsion of always digging.
But it's like, no, it's cursed in the way that the only thing that you can say for the rest of your life while attuned to it is diggy hole.
Or just dig, dig, dig.
Diggly dig, diggly dig. Trio, trio, trio.
What if I told you that I have a bag full of Diglett Pokemons?
I'd say you're very tired.
You're hallucinating.
I'm not hallucinating. You're hallucinating.
So we're gonna do a test. How many fingers are you seeing right now?
8. Oh wait, that's
57.
Damn,
Which
I wasn't
finger
even
am I
moving my
holding
hands.
up?
So yeah, you have multiple places where you can do research. There are multiple points from where you can enter the spire. There are allies, there are enemies, there are creatures.
In other words, we're entering a world inside of a D&D campaign.
we're entering a new area where there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, essentially, I'm throwing you in a mini sandbox. Find your way to what you want to do.
Oh, hold on. You don't want to throw any of these people into a sandbox. You don't want Fallout in here.
New Vegas or 4?
Alright,
Water.
has the stream
Water.
ended, or I don't even
Don't
know.
think
Are we
so.
still?
No, I can end it right now if you want to.
Water.
I was.
You were still it.
I was.
I think we're done being productive.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. Good. So, in that case, this means that the stream will officially end now, before some people start feeling like they're drunk, but they're not. So, as always, for the end of this little campfire, it's always relaxing. And thank you for being with us. We hope you had a pleasant evening tonight. We are this morning, whatever time of the day it is for you. We hope you are going to be there next week, next Wednesday, for apparently the arrival to the Misty Island chain and the beginning of this odd quest for our party. So next Wednesday or Friday if you're watching this on the rebroadcast. What else can we say? Thank you for...
Any and all similarities to Australia are completely coincidental.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said before, this is not the Outback. This is not how I see the Outback. This might be how you see it, but that's not my problem. So...
This is the Outback? No.
I'm talking about the Outback from the Max, you know. It's like so, Thank you for being there. As always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, subscribing on Twitch. Or if you can't do any of those, well, simply spreading the word of this channel helps tremendously, and it is very much appreciated. And the more of you there will be, the more people there will be talking in chat, and Valen V will feel less alone in there. So, like I said, thank you for being there. We hope you'll be there next week. If you're watching this on Friday, we are going to be trying to raid someone, either Tobiyashi's channel or Dungeon for Dummies, if they're there. We'll see which one. That's it. As always, we end this by saying, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.